So when I was like deciding if I want to talk about this topic in the next episode, I was really collecting my thoughts. It's not like I'm really just talking out of nowhere. I did give it some thought, but not like planned the whole episode, the whole format, etc. But I did think about it a lot. And so when I was thinking about friendships and stuff, I was really thinking about all of my friendships. And I was thinking, there's some friends of mine that I can say this about them, that if we had met in a different time, a different place, a different universe, whatever, I would still have been friends with them. Like, there are some friends that I feel this way about, that we would have been friends no matter what, no matter where we had met, no matter what we were doing. If we had met in different circumstances, we still would have been friends. But then I realized that I actually have friends, which is insane to think. Like, it was insane to think about this, that there's some friends of mine, they're like my absolute best friends. But I feel like if I hadn't met them in exactly the way I did meet them, I don't think we would have been friends. I think we would have passed each other, you know? I don't know. I'm having these flashbacks from somewhere where it was like, I don't know, maybe it was a video or something, movie, whatever, about parallel universes. And there's this scene that this really great friend of them in this universe, they just friend of them, or maybe a lover, I do not remember at all, but they just pass each other by in this other universe, and that's it. That's all this really important person was in this other universe to them, just a stranger, a passerby in their story in this other universe. And it is insane to think about this, because oh my god, I cannot I could not really imagine my life without them, and I'm really glad that I met these friends and they are my friends. But wow, to think that we wouldn't have been friends had the circumstances not been this way. I mean, for example, I have this friend that I met in a weird way. Weird. Our story is weird. Not exactly weird, but it's crazy. When we met, she's one of those friends that I became friends with really quickly, and that is obviously because we clicked so well. And no matter how crazily we met, I really do feel like I, if I would have met her in any other place, if I would have met her in like a total shift, if we would have been the same person that we are, then we would have become friends. It's really safe to say that in whatever way we would have met, we would have become friends. But then there's this friend of mine, another friend of mine, who I think like maybe I would have had a really bad relationship with. Like, we would have been enemies, to be honest, if the circumstances were slightly different. Yeah, I really do think that we would have hated each other if we would have met in a different way or a different place. There are also some people that I think that I would have just, even called a friend, but wouldn't have had a whole friendship with if the circumstances were different. And that's weird too, because I think that's worse to have your bestest friend just be like a random person you just know and don't really, love and hold special. Just like, just another classmate. Oh my god, we cannot even think about that. So, yeah, I'm really grateful. Sometimes I feel like we do this, that we really take our friendships for granted. I know I have done this at so many points, and it's a good reminder for oneself to think about friends and be grateful for them. And sometimes, as we are in a process of taking our friends for granted, we can actually really end up hurting them because some people observe things really well than other people, and they can observe that you're just like treating them with like no special regard, and that can hurt sometimes. And I really feel like once in a while we should reassure the people, like even other people, like out of friends, like family and people you love, we should really reassure people that they mean a lot to us. Take this as a reminder and send some love to whoever in your life you think deserves it. I know friendships can also involve sometimes a lot of drama and a lot of misunderstandings and miscommunications. And obviously, it is true for all kinds of relationships to have good communications, to not let misunderstandings ruin things. But today we're talking about friendships, so I'm going to talk in the context of friendship. Sometimes undertones and subtexts can really ruin your friendships. So just be mindful of that. I don't know why I'm going towards a how to guide format again, but I really, really want people to not mess up their friendships and to have open, good communication. I know I have had some translation issues with friends sometimes. um, but it's really important to talk things out. If you did not understand something, talk about it. Even if you think it's like embarrassing to ask someone about something a second time, it is better than to mess up the relationship. Especially if like the misunderstanding is coming from texting. Sometimes, uh, I hate texting to be honest. Yeah, I really hate texting actually. It sucks. And I'm not really that big of a call person. Texting is all I have, so because it is really hard to convey the right emotions through text if you're not being very specific. Text can do a lot of harm. I think I really like voice messages in this context because you don't have to call the person, your emotions are not hidden behind the text, and obviously texts work too sometimes, but if you feel like it is not working, I have cousins who are some of my best friends, and recently my cousin came to stay at my house, and it was really fun time. But when she texted me that she was gonna be coming over and she was planning a trip, I don't know. I think I didn't use emojis in my replies. And when she came, eventually she was like, "You gave me such dry replies." I was like, "She's not even excited to see me." And I was like, "No, but I was so happy that you were coming over." And I was in my mind, I was just like, wow, because she was coming after a really long time. She hadn't come over to stay for years, I guess. And I was really excited for her to come. But but my texts, I guess, did not convey that to her. And she was like, "I couldn't even believe you." I was like, wow, is this how she's gonna respond? I was like, no, but why did you feel that way? And we were like, we opened the chat and she's like, "Look at this, how you just wrote this." And I was like, "Look at this, how I wrote this." And she was taking it in a different context. I had said it in a different context. But my I guess mistake was that I did not use any emojis. So in this world where we live with these silly little images to show our emotions, I guess it is mandatory to use emojis, and if we don't use emojis, it acts like an undertone that we're not interested or happy or sad enough. Anyways, the point was to like have open conversations, and sometimes friends can observe things that might not be there. It is important for the friend to communicate about it that hey, I observed this. There doesn't always have to be a big breakup for a friendship to end. Sometimes people can perceive things. Someone can take your behavior in a certain way and they can just start to lose their love for you, or the friendship can crumble away, and all that remains is that you guys are friends in just name, and that is honestly really sad. So I hope that doesn't happen to anyone, and if you feel like this is happening with you, then address it, I guess, if you want to save the friendship. Because sometimes I feel like when it happens, because it has happened to me, that I was losing interest in this friend because of the way they were changing, I guess you can say, or because I had started noticing things that I wasn't noticing before, because I was so high on the friendship. But as that high broke down after some years, I guess, I started noticing all the wrong things and a lot of other things, and eventually I was all out. Sadly, I didn't even want to save this friendship. So, if you truly care about someone, please don't let your relationship and friendship reach that point where you actually really just don't want to be friends with this person anymore. Like any other relationship, obviously, friendship is also sometimes a matter of choice that you make. Are you making that choice every day, even when things are hard? Because you cannot expect that the weather would never change. Because there are gonna be ups and downs, and it's on you that if you feel like you're getting out of touch with someone, do you really want them to be out of your life, or do you want to save it? And if you do, I guess you should really communicate with the other person what you're feeling, why you're feeling that way. Anyways, I hope you find amazing friends in your life, and I hope that you can be an amazing friend to somebody. And I hope that if you think that you don't really have friends, then you find someone who can change your world, because this side of the world is amazing. And I hope that we can keep our relationships and keep our friendships strong and healthy. Oh my god, there's also a whole other topic about toxic friendships and toxic relationships. Not here, but I hope that we can just have good, nice friendships and offer this to somebody else as well, because that I think I talked about it in my previous episode as well, that you cannot expect someone to be a good friend if you are not a good friend in turn. So be a good friend. I hope you find good friends. Yeah, and I guess I'm gonna wrap it up here because I've said a lot and it's getting late at night. You won't even believe what time it is right now. I'm really embarrassed to tell you guys how late it is, or, oh, well, how early it is, depending upon your perception. But okay, let's cap it up here, and I wish you all the best with everything. I'm gonna be here soon, inshallah, with another episode. At the end, I would like to remind you guys about the relationship of humanity, and to remember the people of Gaza, remember the people of Palestine in your prayers, and just show up for them any way that you can. Goodbye. Allah Hafiz.